Hey y'all, hey, back with another episode. So, we're here, Real Housewives, Beverly Hills season, I don't know, episode 2. So, we start out with my fave. I told y'all at the beginning of last week's episode that this is a Boz Stan channel account. Was before Beverly Hills, will be so after Beverly Hills. I stand. Anyway, so again, we start off with her. She gives a little bit more information about herself. That she is of Ghanaian descent. Again, that she was the CMO at all of these different places. She worked at Pepsi for the longest. And she said pretty much like at this point, she is showing off her it's called Badass Workshop. So because I follow her, I'm very aware of this. So she has these little workshops that she does where again she goes around and she just kind of talks to people about her experience and stuff. She said the number one question that she gets is like, how do you get that corner office? So she said, I started to start to talk to people about that, but I want to talk about how she just like just nicely put in her little speech that she was working for Pepsi for about like almost 10 years, and that she's the one like who helped negotiate the deal, like that Pepsi would pretty much sponsor the halftime show. Like, do y'all hear how she's casually mentioned that? Good gracious, my lord. So again, she starts to run down all her accolades. She talks about her husband and that story that she told Dorit. And her daughter. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I stand their relationship. When I'm telling you, when I be seeing her and her daughter, goals, 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 goals. And I feel like there's this thing where every year her daughter gets to pick where she wants to go. Like, I think maybe for her birthday or something, and then she takes her there. Like, me and my daughter, for sure goals. My baby is only 1, and I promise you she's been to at least like 4 places. Now, she ain't been out of the country yet, but she been at least 4 places. But goals, 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 goals. Anyway, but can I tell y'all what really touched, like, the part that spoke to my soul? I want to tell you why I stand this woman and why she's truly goals. She told this story pretty much about how in 2014, now this is after she done been there for probably over 10 years. She literally negotiated and helped come up with the whole idea of having Pepsi sponsor the Super Bowl halftime show. She said that her boss sat across the table from her and told her that what she was doing for the company wasn't enough. And at that point is when she realized, I am done. Can I tell you why, as a black girl in marketing in corporate America, why that truly touches my soul? I haven't been in corporate America very, very long, couple of years at this point. And the amount of promotions, the amount of hoops that I've had to go through just to get the promotions that I have, but the many times I've been overlooked when I'm literally the most educated, I have the most experience, I take on the most work. If y'all in corporate America, y'all know about them daggone them little, once a year or twice a year, reviews that you get. And every time I'm being told something different. I want to know, the black corporate girlies, are y'all also told when y'all have y'all reviews that you're seen as like not a team player? And it's really not because you're not a team player, but because like you don't want to go out to eat with people and you don't want to do happy hour and like play the whole corporate social game. But that really touched my soul, and it's exactly why like I'm going in the trajectory that I am with my life. I have made a decision very long ago that this is not for me. Like, corporate America is not for me. Everything that boss said, I said, please speak to me. Like, she needs to know that she hit her demo. Black, 1. Woman, 2. In marketing, 3, in corporate America 4. You hit all the marks when it comes to me, boss, which is why I stand. It's exactly why I fucking stand. And like, my story or Boz's story is the story of so many of those like who was able to come before her and that comes after her, like me, and then the people that's going to be coming up after me. And like, you really just have to have that mindset. Like, if you're okay with playing the corporate game, like, do it. Like, I know that there's some people that don't care and that they're gonna play the game, but if you're one of those people where it's like, I can only play this game for but so long, then Boz, yes, you need to go her way. But anyway, not to continuously stand for this woman. But so then we move on, and we see Cal and Sutton, and they're sitting together, and they're having I don't know, like brunch or something. And so the producer asks Sutton, so like, what made you like trust Kyle again? And so who said that I trust her? Who said that? Who said that? I thought that was funny. But some people could say, well, if you don't trust her, then why are you trying to be her friend? Those are both valid questions. Those are valid, but I can probably understand a little bit. I think Sutton is not there with Kyle, but hopefully, like, she can get back there with her. But anyway, Kyle, kind of talks about, the split with her and Mauricio. And, I didn't realize that nobody actually filed for divorce. But, how they've still been, kind of co-parenting. Because she talked about, like, how she had got something, I don't know, that Sutton had when she went, like, out of the country maybe 2 years ago. And so she said they did that, and then they had just got back from Stagecoach together. Now everybody had their own rooms, but they was all in the same house. I think that's interesting that they went to Stagecoach with their kids. That's that's very interesting to me. But anyway, so she pretty much talked about, like how, she's sad, but pretty much Kyle feels like the way that they're handling it is not super, super messy. And Sutton was pretty much trying to tell Kyle, like, I think you need to like really protect yourself. And so Kyle goes, well, no, that's not necessarily true, because, with me and Mauricio, it's been 50-50. And, he've already said in his book, how I've helped him with so much. And if it wasn't for me, and he's said in interviews, and Sutton's just looking at her like, you poor naive child. You sweet summer poor naive child. You think that's gonna work in a court of law? Well, they'll bring it up. I'll say this. They'll bring it up in the divorce proceedings, but I don't know how much weight it's gonna actually hold is the point of the matter. And she's just like, so she pretty much says to Kyle, like, like, I don't want to be rude. And it seemed like she was like trying to really be careful when she said that. She's like, I think that you need to file. I think that you need to file. And so Kyle goes on to, say how people, keep asking, like, are you filing or is he filing? And she feels like it's her, Kyle's, I guess, whole thing throughout this whole episode is that she does not feel like her and Mauricio's divorce, I guess whenever it does happen, will be as messy as other people's are. She feels like they have a relationship where it won't get that way. She feels like on the money side, they'll be able to just do everything 50-50 because, they all helped each other. And Sutton and everybody else around her is trying to knock on her head and say, Kyle, listen to the words. As Sutton says, she said, one thing I learned about men, they don't like to part with their money. So who gives two shits if that's actually true, Kyle? Because let's just be real. Let's really have a conversation, right? Because I think this is what Kathy was trying to allude to at the end. And Kathy literally said at the end, like, pretty much like, you came into the situation with everything and he didn't. Let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. Kyle and them have been has had money since she was a kid. Now, not when they were really, 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 really young kids, but once, they started the movies and stuff like that and then started on the show, they started to get a little bit of money, right? So by the time, I think Kyle said when her and Mauricio got together, she was 23. By the time she's 23, Kathy, I'm pretty sure at that point is probably already married and is probably already a Hilton at that point in time. Like, let's not act like Mauricio, no matter what Mauricio had going on at that time, We all know that you brought more into that marriage than he did, just off of your namesake and your family's sake alone. You came into it with a whole lot more. And he's probably absolutely right with saying that you helped him. Of course you did. You was his wife and you had all of these different connections. You had money. So of course you're going to try to help your husband, who is like, you know, an entrepreneur and trying to get his stuff up. Now, Kyle will always say that when she met Mauricio, he was kind of already doing his thing. But you can't act like we're not stupid. Mauricio marrying you had nothing but benefits. What benefit outside of love, like we're talking about financially, what benefits did you really get with being with Mauricio? So all of that to say is like, yeah, you could say that. We could all know that that's true. But at the end of the day, when it actually gets down to court, Mauricio could say, yeah, we splitting everything 50-50 except my real estate business. Everything else she could keep. Everything else we could split down the middle, but not my real estate. Not my real estate business. And then Kyle be like, but you said. The point of the matter is, girl, it's time to be on the defensive/offensive, whichever way you want to look at it. You need to go and get your ducks in a row and file. I'm with something on that. Don't be sitting there. Kyle is a dumbass. Like, please, Kyle. Please. Kyle ain't even my favorite person, but girl, use your brain. Use your brain. People act real different when there's a lot of money. And you and Mauricio together are dealing with a lot of money. It's not a small amount. It's a lot. And it's a lot of assets. So, again, y'all need to get your shit together, Kyle, okay? So then we have Dorit and Erica. They come over to Boz's house. And I love that the minute that they sat down, which first of all, Boz's house is so cute, especially her backyard. Her backyard is so quaint, it's so cute. But I love the minute that they sat down, Erica said, so what did you think about everybody? Like let's just get the brass tacks here. What did you think about everybody? So, you know, she said that she thought that everybody was okay, you know, but how Sutton had told her, you know, that Dorit and Kyle were not in the best space. And I want to say, Dorit, your tan looked fucking terrible. Really bad. But I loved the dark hair on you. Like, I think you should go darker sometimes. Like, the dark roots looked really good on you. But anyway, Dorit goes on to pretty much say, you know, what she's been saying. But it was funny because she was like, I don't know why Kyle is mad at me, which is true. So production goes through to list the 3 different things or 3 different times that Kyle said that she was mad or why she was mad at Dorit. I feel like it really just starts and ends with the whole Kathy thing. She feels like that whole season she was getting jumped on, like, both within the cast and by online people, and she didn't feel like Dorit stuck up for her enough. And then from there she just started up to make up reasons. That's my opinion. And so Dorit was just pretty much like, you know, she needs to make up her mind, and I'm pretty much just fucking sick and tired of it. And so we go back to a conversation with Sutton and Kyle. Kyle said Dorit has a lack of accountability and lacks self-awareness. Kettle, meat pot, meat kettle. But like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about, Kyle? All of that can be true, because I do believe that Dorit lacks all of those things, accountability and self-awareness. But that's probably why y'all two were such good friends, because same, sis, same. I have so many, like, laughing emojis next to that because, girl, you really tried it. Like, again, pot, meat kettle. It's really just that simple. So, Dorit pretty much goes on to say that, you know, she feels like there is a unfair standard that Kyle wants you to do things as her friend that she's never willing to do back. And it's just an unfair standard. It's very true. It's very true. Kyle holds her friendships standards so high, but she never, ever holds herself to the same standards. Ever, ever, ever. So then, you know, they talk about, Erica ends up saying, you know, I just think that both of y'all are going through a lot right now. Y'all both, like getting separated. Erica pretty much said in her confessional, like, both of these bitches is getting divorced or separated, and so they can't take it out on a man, so they gonna take it out on each other. That's pretty much what's happening. So then we kind of get on to Dorit and PK again, and Dorit says, okay, so Boz is like, so are you going to tell the kids? Or you're not telling the kids? And she said no. Now, I did hear some people say that maybe she didn't tell because they wouldn't be able to tell the difference, but she did say the thing is that because PK works so much, he's never really here like that anyway. And then she said when they get into arguments, PK will dip off and leave for weeks. Not minutes, not hours, not even a day or two. Weeks. That man probably goes smooth across the pond. Unacceptable. So then we have Sutton, Erica, and Kathy, and they meet up. And they're pretty much gonna go surprise Kyle. You know, we see Kyle in the house, and you know her talking about how lonely it is, and you know how quiet it is, and you know, so like it's just really hard for her. And so I would like to say, right, so as somebody who's on their first child, right, and I am like 30 now, I would like to say that I see a lot of times that, like, especially people that had their kids a little bit younger, once their kids are gone, that it's like much harder for them to sit with, like she said, the silence. Baby, all the way up until I was like 28, 29, it was just me and my man. That was it. It was just us. And when I'm telling you that silence was golden, and the way that I would take a piece of that silence versus a screaming toddler right now, yeah, I just want to point that out because I do find it interesting, because it seems like to me people are unable to sit with silence. And I get it, like when you've had so much going on in your house, like that's how it is. But I also feel like that comes from having kids like at a young age, because you've never been able to sit with yourself like as an adult with no children. But for me, like I said, I was able to go through all of college with no kids, fucking up in my mid-20s, to getting an actual like career job, to like, again, just really just being me and my man, like, and just us just chilling, just us living in our own space. Like, so that silence was great, and I wish I could have it back. I wish I could. Anyway, so they're coming over to the house to like pretty much help cheer her up. And so you know, Sutton brings up that when they were at the dinner, which I wonder, did she tell her that over dinner or was it over the phone? But she said that the picture of Mauricio and Kyle that's in his office, that he switched that picture out and it's now him and his like Dancing with the Stars like partner or whatever. And they were like, what kind of messy, what kind of nasty-ish is that? Kathy was like, I would rather you could have just took the whole thing down. Facts. Like, I would rather you just remove the whole picture than to replace it with you and another bitch. No respect at all. So then, but Erica in her confessional was like, well, I mean, Tom had a picture underneath his desk of the girl that he was fucking at the time, so who am I to even fucking judge? Hilarious. So they go to the house, you know, they pop up, surprise her, she was really excited, so they all sit down and they're eating pizza. So the best part of this episode, as much as I do not like Kathy, is Kathy starts to drag the entire shit out of Mauricio. She was like, Kyle, you look like you could be Mauricio's daughter. And she was like, don't do that because he looks good. Like, Mauricio, face-wise, yes, still looks good. But then Kathy starts like doing her like arms like she's lifting weights. And it was like, what do that mean? So Kyle says to production in her confessional that she's probably referring to the pictures that Mauricio puts up when he's at the gym. And Kyle does not like that. And Kathy knows that. And Mauricio's body looks, whatever. It's not terrible. It's just like, no, right? But he has a nice looking face. And so Kathy goes on to say in her confessional pretty much that she's like, we've had our ups and downs with Mauricio, but like, no, she pretty much does not care for Mauricio and does not like him, because she said that she's heard from people that like he talks badly about like Hilton and Highland, which is, you know, the different companies and stuff like that, in the hotels. And then they show this headline of Paris Hilton like kind of going off on Mauricio earlier this year because he brought up the Hilton's name in I think it's like Buy in Beverly Hills. I think it's on Netflix. I have never watched it, but I know of the show. Oh no, Selling Beverly Hills. And so, you know, I think Kathy, and like I said, back to earlier, and then Kathy pretty much like says like, you, what did she say? She pretty much was like, you pretty much had more than he did, like coming into it. I think Kathy doesn't like Mauricio because she feels like he probably used her. She feels like you came into this marriage with absolutely nothing. My sister was the breadwinner. You know, she had the bag. You know, she had the name. And now you want to just pretty much throw my sister away for some young ass little tail or whatever. And then you're probably not going to even treat my sister correctly when y'all break up. That's how Kathy feel. I don't care what nobody say. Kathy don't like Mauricio. She don't like that shit. And so, again, you know, Sutton and Erica was pretty much just trying to like tell Kyle like how their divorces went and pretty much why she really needs to protect herself. And so Kyle in her confession was like, you know, I just feel like, you know, everybody talks about like how bad it is, you know, with like custody and this and that and all this. And I'm like, well, first of all, you don't have to worry about custody because all of your kids except I think Portia is grown, and Portia is like 16, 17. She could decide where the hell she want to live. But she was like, you know, and money, but I just feel like this is different, right? Like we're different. And like, that's not to sound pompous, but like our situation, our marriage, our lifestyle, it's just like all very different. I don't understand. I'm not understanding what she means when she says that they're different. Like, you mean y'all different in what sense? Like, because y'all are not like clawing each other's eyes out type of like having a separation right now? Is that what you mean by that? Like, I'm not understanding, because I think the more money that you have, the more of a reason you need this is probably more important. And eventually, unless y'all had something on paper, which she's not saying that they did, unless they already had paperwork worked out about how this was going to go, as they said, when it actually gets down to it, you have no idea what Mauricio's going to ask for. And you have no idea. He could tell you all he wanted to your face, that it's going to be clean and quick and to the point. You better hope so. You better hope so. And that's the problem. That's the problem, Kyle. See, that's probably the problem right there why you got a divorce. Because you think that you so different. You think you're different. No shade, but I do think that Mauricio loves Kyle. But in all reality, Mauricio got everything he needed out of Kyle. Real shit. He got his kids, he got a decent lifestyle, and he got to be able to build his business to where it is. Facts. If she was a woman, I'd say that if it was reversed where Mauricio had the money and she didn't, like the same thing about Erica, it's the same thing. Erica divorced Tom once the money dried out. Same thing with Mia. She divorced Gordon once the money dried out. Because they used them for all that they could while they were there. Like, you're not that different, sis. So then we see Dorit. The final scene is Dorit and PK. So they go out to eat. And Dorit says how PK's pretty much been staying at a hotel. And so, you know, PK, I can't remember. I feel like PK asked for a drink before she got there. I feel like he did, but somebody correct me. But anyway, you know, she gets there, and then, you know, she was like, oh, you got like a new sweater on or something. And he was like, oh yeah, you know, I did. And she was like, oh, so you went and got a whole new wardrobe or whatever. So he stands up and he was like, yeah, you know, like this is the single PK. So Dorit is confused. Now, I guess my confusion, I think that everybody is confused. Either A, couple things is going on. Either A, this is a storyline and y'all are both faking this shit. Or B, Dorit is using this as a storyline, which is why she says she's separated and not divorced. But PK is taking it seriously and is like, yeah, we're separated, but we're separated because we're going to eventually get a divorce. Or C, Dorit, this is real, and And Dorit really thought that they were just gonna be like separated till they could figure something out. And PK is like, no, we're separating to the divorce, to divorce. Because a lot of this is not making sense, right? So Dorit says that she feels some type of way when PK says that he's single PK. Because I think in her head, she's like, I mean, I know that we're separated, but we're not divorced, and we didn't talk about divorce. We just talked about taking time apart and trying to, I think, figure it out. So PK goes on to like pretty much admit. So now I could let it go when Dorit keeps saying he was a full-blown alcoholic. I could let it go because now he's admitting to it. He said this thing is a disease, and he said pretty much admitting that like he had a really, really bad drinking problem, but now that he is sober, he can clearly see, and he can see clearly now the rain is gone. But he can see pretty much that the issue, I guess, like most people were saying last episode, is her. Like, it's not just her, but he can see the real issues within their marriage. And so he was like, we do not speak nicely to each other. If we was to speak to the waiters the way that we talk to each other, we would pretty much be thrown out. So PK goes on to say, like, you asked me to make a change, a really big change. And that was with my drinking, and I made that change. And so she was like, you don't think I made any changes? He said, no, I don't. I don't think that you've made any changes at all. And so Dorit goes on in her confessional to explain how when her and PK, like, their arguments have started to like escalate. It started from like yelling, but no cursing. Then cursing to like, I hope you die, like you rot in hell, like all different types of below the belt shit. And so, pay attention to this part, right? Okay. PK then goes on to say, I told you this before. When we got together, you was this really gorgeous girl. You was with me all the time. You were socializing. I was the global entrepreneur. I was the one running to get the bag. I was the one traveling. I was doing this. I was doing that. And that's no longer the case anymore. So he pretty much saying that he does not feel needed. And that's exactly what I said in my review last week. I watched a lot of people review this episode, and everybody just glossed over that part and said like, oh, well, the reason that they broke up is because, Dorit is saying that, PK is saying that Dorit doesn't listen, and completely skipped over when he specifically said, when we first got together, Dorit was with me all the time. It would socialize. And I said in my review last week that if you really listen deeply to what he is saying that you used to be my arm candy. You used to be my trophy wife. You used to be the girl that I could just take with me wherever. You would just clean the house, but you would still look good. And it's whatever it is that you needed, I was taking care of. You went from that to having your own bag, to having your own name, to having your own schedule, and not needing me as much, and not being able to be at my beck and whim as much as you used to when we first got together. I literally said that in my last review, and that's exactly what he confirmed when he said that. All he kept saying is, listen to how he was saying, I was the global entrepreneur, meaning I used to one bringing in a bag. Now you're doing that too. I used to be the one that did this. He is upset. I said this in the last episode. I'm going to say it again. PK is upset, like a lot of the housewives' husbands get upset, that at one point in time, you were pretty much just like my trophy wife. You were really a housewife. You showed up when I needed to. You were very beautiful. You kept the house good, the kids good, or whatever. But whenever it is that I needed you, whether it was for social functions, work, or the fuck, you were available. And ever since you got on this show, you now have your own name. You now have your own bag now. So now you don't really even have to come to me to ask me for money. You're not available when I need you all the time because you got your own shit going on, and they don't like that. There's some niggas that don't like that, and they can't handle it. And it's very confusing. Like, it's really confusing. I would say maybe not necessarily for PK, because when Dorit came on Real Housewives, Real Housewives was really a thing at that time. Like, I think most of the men are like, get on the Real Housewives, not because they need to, but because they're trying to support their wife. And my thing is, if you're going to support her in every way. And that means if she becomes like a Nene Leakes in the sense of like her status and the bookings and stuff that she gets, then you need to be champion that and not feeling some type of way. It's just ego. I'm not trying to be funny, but it all goes back to the patriarchy. It all goes back to the motherfucking patriarchy. So yeah, so Dorit goes on to say, oh, I didn't know that you really felt like this, and you know, and I'm sorry because I never meant to make you feel that way. And so PK was like, you know, I just think that we need to really start like working on like, you know, what it looks like, you know, for us to not, you know, like really communicate and pretty much like just kind of pull back from each other. And so she was like, well, I mean, we already talk 5 times a day and you're not even here. She was like, yeah, I don't think he said, we're not going to be doing that anymore. That's what he said. And she was like, what? And he was like, we cannot keep doing that. And he's right. Like if even if y'all don't get a divorce, right? Let's just say I don't get a divorce. What's the point of being separated if y'all are still going to be in communication and talk like y'all are still together? I think the whole point of being separated is to be separated in every aspect. So unless it has something to do with the kids or like real life or death emergency shit, the parties need to be separated so that they can think on their own, not be influenced by them having conversations with the other person, like genuinely be separated. I'm with PK. Now, unless you're just doing this shit for a storyline, but if you're serious as hell, yes, y'all should not be talking. You shouldn't. You should not be talking. Not that frequently. Now, if the conversation is, hey, we're separated, we're not going to talk as much, but like maybe we can check in, and every now and again it's like, hey, like, or on some, do you want to go to therapy type shit, then we can maybe talk there. But like if y'all are just now separated, y'all don't need to be talking. Y'all really don't. But yeah, but y'all get in the comments. I thought the episode was cute, but y'all get in the comments. Tell me what y'all think. I'm like, bye.